Welcome to Marvel Champions Podcast, a podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I'm your host, Scott, and with me, as always, my co-host, Ryan.
That's right, and coming hot off the press of Fantasy Flight, an article dropped.
Yeah, I checked the interwebs today. I was like, are we going to get something today? Maybe? Well, I guess this is the future on Friday, so yesterday, Thursday. And
One of those.
Lo and behold, there it was.
Something literally just bamfed in my text messages of an article.
Just teleported right there.
Yeah, so I opened it up and what?
Purple smoke everywhere, huh?
That's right. Now, I will have to admit, I was expecting this one based off the spoiler, that they provided the little silhouettes.
Yeah, some pokey hair. Pointed, pokey hair.
That's
and
right.
It's interesting to note they have been going from left to right with this silhouette. So it's that mystery person on the end.
The great debate. It's going to be, yes, it'll probably go down into our end of year great community conflict of who's that last hero. But today is not that day. We are talking about Kurt Wagner.
Well, let's pause right there for 1 second, though. So I guess I'll jump from the end right to the beginning. I guess we can just teleport this whole episode wherever we want, right? Just bam, bam. So they did mention in the article that this is going to come out in September. So if we follow that May, July, September, kind of skipping some months there, we can only assume November is when that last hero is going to drop. And hopefully we can get that person played before we do our 24 wrap-up episode.
Well, we're going to have to do that.
I know.
Especially if it's like the best one.
Right, hoping for a November release for that last one. Okay, let's teleport back.
That's not how his bam thing works.
No, not at all.
All right, man. Well, let's stop talking about it and let's talk about it.
All right, let's take a look at some cards. Do you want the hero or do you want the alter ego?
I'll go first. I will take Kurt Wagner. He's a mutant, of course. 3 recovery, pretty basic. He's got a hand size of 6, which is normal, and hit points of 9, which I think is a little interesting based off his design, but we'll see. And he has an action: search your deck for a copy of Bamf and add it to your hand. Limit once per round. So
nice.
Right off the bat, it looks like Bamf is going to be a key thing to his deck.
Which I would hope so when you're designing a Nightcrawler hero, that you would hope they would get his teleportation right, or is translated into the game as best as possible.
Yeah, I've seen that that's basically his main mutant power. Yeah, it's got to be central. So
right. All right. Talking about your silhouettes, they tried to trick you, Ryan.
Did they flip him, right?
They did, yeah. He's upside down in his alter ego, hanging from a tree. But in the silhouette, he's right side up. So they did trick you,
tricky.
Mm-hmm. All right. Nightcrawler. Teleporting at us with a giant swashbuckling sword. He has a 2 thwart, 1 attack, 3 defense, X-Men traded. Rapid teleportation is his action on this side. Action: spend 1 resource of any type. Return a copy of Bamf from your discard pile to your hand. Limit once per phase.
Oh, per phase.
Yeah. Do some villain phase action there.
So how does that work?
I guess you just call an action, right?
Can you call an action during the villain phase?
I mean, I don't know. It's on interrupt.
That's my thing. Is like, why is it once per phase?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody who likes to submit questions will probably ask for some clarification on that one.
Interesting.
I don't know. I do like the inverseness of these two abilities. His alter ego one is you're searching your deck. That one is free. And then it sounds like this BAMP is his like key component to make everything work. That you have a way to recur those. It does cost a resource, but you can grab them from your discard pile. So you don't just kind of like get stuck with everything in your discard.
Yeah.
Which I like. That seems like he should be able to kind of keep moving and grooving on what he wants to do.
I really like the stat line. I love seeing that 2 thwart, 1 attack, 3 defense. Because generally, if something's getting a nerf, it's not the attack. It's going to be the thwart or defense that's going to get that 1.
Yeah, with the heroes that I've played recently, I've played 2 characters real close, back-to-back, with a lot of games where they both have a base 1 thwart. It gets a little tricky, because you have typically more attack cards than you do thwart cards. So, I've found that even just that 1 extra makes a decent difference in solo 2-player games.
Yeah. It sounds like, just kind of, not foreshadowing, but just because I've read these cards, his defense stat is going to be the biggest thing you're going to be using his basics for. Which,
to me, makes sense thematically, right? He usually can dodge and duck and weave and with his teleporting, so you would anticipate that he would not get hurt very easily.
Yeah. But, alas, he may not always be exhausted because of defending, because he has another card, his key card, or cards, I don't know. And that is his BAMF. So BAMF is a 0-cost upgrade. It says attached to an enemy, max 1 per enemy. It says Hero Interrupt, Defense. When attached enemy attacks, discard this card. Declare Nightcrawler as the defender without exhausting him. So, he's a defensive character.
Yeah, so all you green protection players, he's going to be, sounds like super strong, especially in multiplayer too, right?
Yeah, with the 3 defense, that's pretty hefty.
I guess you got to figure out how to play it right, though, because you would have to, you're only going to have 1 on the villain, and then you would have to put your rest on your minions. So, he wouldn't be like super fantastic, but I guess you could exhaust Nightcrawler to defend for yourself, and then BAMP for another player.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, basically.
And then you could, well, that can only do once for the villain. Unless you're playing like a multi-villain game.
Yeah, there you go. You can put it on all the wrecking crews or all the horsemen.
Yep.
Now, granted, the article only reveals 1, but we're assuming there's more than 1 because of both the alter ego ability and the hero ability mentions like grabbing a copy, not just the copy.
Yeah, there was one that says you deal damage to each enemy with BAMP attached. We'll get to it in more detail, but so it makes you think there's at least, that's card number 5. The next highest revealed is card 8. So 5, 6, 7. I'm going to assume there's at least 3. Any
Maybe.
last, to me, doesn't look thematic. To me, Nightcrawler teleporting here to there to there to there is Nightcrawler.
Yeah, so I assume there's multiple. I'm not sure if they're all the exact same copy. Maybe they have different abilities on them. I don't know.
Well, this one has a physical resource on it, so they could have multiple different resources.
Oh, maybe there's 1 for each resource, including wilds. Maybe there's 4.
I don't know. Maybe. Guess we'll see. Right, because there could be a 4, right? Like there could be a BAMP that's 4 out of 15. Who knows? They just showed 5 for fun.
Yeah, well, all the events are later in the counts. Like the events start at 8 as far as we see. The card count is what we're talking about, people, if you're kind of lost with those numbers.
Yeah.
It's card number 8 of his 15 is the first event that's revealed. And so the rest are events. So anything previous to that is likely either support, an upgrade,
Yeah,
signature ally, or resource.
Support upgrade. Yeah, it's typically what you see in those early numbers.
Yeah. So, yeah, who knows? But I like the idea behind it. So I'm curious how it plays out, especially as we read some of these other cards.
Yeah, solo. To me, it makes like the villain phase just like, yeah, whatever.
And I mean, not really, but it's almost like a mini stun, semi-stun. Because if you're dealing with some of these weaker attacking villains, then that's an automatic 3. They have to do 3 or more. Or, sorry, not 3 or more. 4 or more to actually deal damage to you.
So, when you riddle me this, Batman, so I'm thinking like ways to completely negate any damage coming. First that comes to my mind is the Defiance, right? Cancels the boost card. So then you're just
Defiance is going to be awesome with him.
So then you're talking just straight base stat.
Uh-huh.
So the other thing is Flow Like Water. Bamf is an upgrade that attaches when you hero interrupt. It says defense. Does that count? That counts as playing a defensive card, right?
Ooh, that is a great question because you're not playing it. It's already played.
Yeah, see, I don't know how that would work. But let's say for sake of conversation that it does. That's like that with Defiance. 2 0 cost cards. That's 2 damage right there with Flow Like Water. That's pretty good little combo.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the card real quick. Flow Like Water. Flow Like Raw Water says response. After you play a defense card, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. So technically, if you play Bamf...
play it down, it's not an attacking enemy. But when you activate it, is activating playing? I think that's the question. When you activate Bamf, is it playing Bamf, or is the act of putting it, attaching it?
Yeah, the wording's
playing.
Off. Yeah, the wording's off on both of those because it's a defense upgrade, so it's not active when you play it.
Right.
I guess, but it's active when it's not. But the Flow Like Water is implying that you're activating it on the villain phase when someone's attacking you, which traditionally that's what defense cards are.
Sure.
But this, because it's an upgrade, so I'm going to have to grim rule and say no.
Yeah, you're probably right, because I want to say when we played Domino, she has a very similar card. It was one of the first upgrade defensive cards that we'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
There could be more. There's been a lot of cards. But that was one of the things I think we talked about was, does it count as playing a defensive card when you activate it? Because you didn't really play it at that time.
Yeah. Since I have it pulled up, some other defensive cards that might be really good with Bamf. Judoka.
It's a good one.
Judica. Is it called Judica?
I would have to look at that. I know which one. It's got Shadow Cat tossing up.
Yeah, I would just consider it judo skills, but there's a KA. Either way, that one, when you defend against an enemy, remove 1 judo counter here. The enemy gets -2 attack for that attack. So that's a good way to doing it. I mean, there might be some other ones that might be pretty good. Unflappable is always great.
Yeah, he's got a similar one, Unflappable, that we'll get to in his defensive cards.
Energy Barrier, Force Field would work with all that.
Oh, yeah, because does that count as... I guess it does count as defending, because it's a defensive traded card. But it's interesting that it doesn't have, the defense trait on the card. I don't know. It's all weird. Weird timing. Attaching upgrades. It's all we're doing this wave.
Well, let's keep talking about some of these other cards. I did Bam, so you're up.
Okay. So do I get to pick one, or are we just going to go in order?
Just pick one.
All right. I'm going to go with one that I think is really cool because cost-wise, I think it's like bonkers. So I'm going to go with teleport drop. The art's awesome. You grab the enemy, you teleport them into the stratosphere, and then you drop them on their head. It's a hero action attack. Discard a copy of BAMF from an enemy, deal 8 damage to that enemy, and stun it. So 2 for 8 and a stun. That seems pretty crazy. Plus, it's a superpower. Everything we're going to talk about tonight's a superpower. So Death Focus is your friend with Nightcrawler. So
I thought about this too, and I was like, that is nuts. 8 damage and a stun. But I thought about it and was like, well, you potentially are spending a copy or a resource just to get BAMF from the discard.
True.
So you could be a 3.
You would have to spend one to get one. Then you would turn that card. You would attach that BAMF onto the enemy. But yeah, timing wise, I think this is because if you've defended with BAMF, it's gone, right? So you would have to either not defend with BAMF on your turn to keep it on there, or attach it as one of your cards in your hand. Even though, still, if I can make that one cost, that's still pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it still is really crazy. A resource generator too, so or X-Gene is in the mix.
Oh yeah, X-Gene works really good.
X-Jet's in the mix, so tons of resource generation that can make that happen.
I'm really surprised how low cost that is.
The only thing when I looked at the cards that I was like, this is like either always used on the villains, and probably one of like a maybe like a super minion, like an elite minion with a ton of health.
Yeah, I mean,
because 8 damage is going to kill most minions, so you lose the stun. It's kind of a moot point. So,
yeah. No, I think it's a really powerful card, so I'd be curious to see if it is easy to make happen or if it's a lot harder.
Well, the one thing that I will say is there's probably only one copy because there is a number 11 out of 15. The teleport drop is 10. Then there's an 11 that's not teleport drop, so you probably only get the one big hitter card.
So you don't think there's the next card is 8.
I think it's going to be like a Cyclops, so...
I think you're right. I think there's only one copy of it.
Yeah. That was probably one of my biggest things about Cyclops is I wanted a second big blast.
Yeah.
So that leads me to like, you got to use it when you got it kind of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it's a villain hitter. And I'm wondering if it's so easy, I guess, to deal damage with it is because Nightcrawler might not have a whole lot of attacking because he's a very defensive type.
True. And he's hitting.
I wonder if that's part of it.
Sure.
Cool. Well, let's go to the other attack, the number 8 on his kit, and that is Port and Punch. And it's a 2-cost event. It's an attack. Deal 3 damage to an enemy, and then deal 3 damage to each enemy with BAMF attached. So that's pretty cool.
That one's crazy. So that one could potentially, if we're going under the assumption that there's 3, you could potentially hit 4 different enemies with that.
Yeah, you could. It's pretty powerful. And it doesn't get rid of BAMF.
No.
So, because it sounds like you're going to be losing a lot of them based off these cards. So that one, to keep your BAMFs going, is kind of nice.
See, and the art on that one is what I was talking about earlier, just the visual of what I think of when I think of Nightcrawler. Going from point A to point B to point C to point D.
Yeah. It's, I like this one. I think there's probably 2 copies of this one, and then, like you said, probably 1 of Teleport Drop, because that would be 8, 9, and then Teleport Drop is 10. So, yeah, pretty good.
So, we were talking about BAMF being a defensive card. It would, I guess, only be natural to have more defensive cards.
Of
So
course.
we have a 1-cost Tally-ho! Again, swashbuckling sword. It looks like he's on a pirate ship. It is a 1-cost event. Defense superpower. Hero response defense. After Bamf makes Nightcrawler the defender of an attack, return that copy of Bamf to your hand. Deal 3 damage to the attacking enemy. You get the Bamf back, and then you get to deal 3 damage to the attacking enemy.
Pretty
Seems like
solid.
a decent little minion killer, right?
Yeah. I think it does pretty good with that. Yeah,
And you get
minion
your Bamf
killer.
back. Yep.
Yeah. Just a side note, I don't know if you planned on talking about it, but I just noticed that all of these are the lightning bolt
Oh, I
energy
did not.
resource.
I did not pick up on that.
So he very much leans into this defensive mindset.
Oh, that's true. Defensive usually has a lot of electricity. Cool.
Cha-ching. Yeah, cool. I think the card that I like, that I think is going to be really nice, is Port Away.
Okay.
It's a 0-cost event. Action: discard a copy of Bamf from your hand. Change forms and ready your identity. So I like the idea of being able to, say, be in hero form and play this card, drop down to alter ego, do something in alter ego, and then flip back up to hero and get back into the game.
Well, ideally, you're flipping down and grabbing with his action. If you know you got one in your deck, you go grab it.
Yeah, you can do it that way too, yeah.
And then you flip back up, right?
Yeah, you can do it that way. Either way, it depends on the circumstance, but especially if you have like alter ego setups that X-Men have, like Moira McTaggart. Oh my goodness. Moira McTaggart.
Good job.
Or, just one of these other supports X-Men have. Flip down, do all of them.
Oh, yeah.
And come back up with Port Away.
Mansion, things like that. Cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things you can do with that.
What do you think about... Here, let me look at the other card first. And then I'm going to ask you a question. So his Thwart event, Scout Ahead, 1 cost. Thwart superpower, hero action, remove 3 threat from a scheme. You may discard a copy of Bamf from your hand to remove 3 threat from another scheme. Seems kind of big, right? 3 and 3, that's pretty good. Especially
that's huge.
Solo, it's pretty good. What do you think about this concept of discarding a copy of Bamf from your hand? Do you think it's expensive for him?
No, I don't think it's expensive because you're potentially removing 6 threat for 2 cost, essentially. Because either you already have Bamf in your hand, and then you just pay 1 and you discard it, and now you're getting 6 thwart removed. Granted, it has to be 2 different ones. Or you pay 1 to put 1 in your hand, then do that. Now you're doing 6 total.
That's true. I guess you can kind of plan for it, right? Because if you don't need to do the second scheme, you just don't.
Yeah, 3 for 1 is still pretty good.
Yeah. I still like seeing 4, 3. In a lot of the games we played recently, it's like 3 just is the odd number of threat to remove. It's neither here nor there. All right. What do you think about Nightcrawler? Hero cards.
I'm excited to see how this works. I have found that other than, justice is probably my favorite aspect because I like just the feel of controlling Thwart and everything. But I think the aspect I enjoy playing the most, I don't know if that makes sense, is actually protection. Because I think protection has the most fun things to do. You can be very defensive and play with that, or you can be all about readying or drawing cards. I think him playing in protection is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, his cards look good. He looks like he's going to be a pretty fun hero to play. A lot going on. I like he kind of bends the rules with defending.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. High defense. I don't know. It's going to be... I like the one where he's doing a lot. Where like Tally Ho, Important Punch. I'm looking forward to those, I think.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, sir.
Okay.
I got two. First one. I see in a lot of the images, he's got his swords. Do you think there is a sword upgrade?
It makes sense, right? I think in previous episode we talked about if there's typically a stat that starts off base is low, sometimes they'll use an upgrade to kind of pad that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could see that. Maybe some type of passive and a +1 attack. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Piercing, maybe. It's a sword, right? Swords poke things.
Yeah. I think it is likely there will be some type of sword. Or it would be cool if there were 3 swords. Because I know he pulls off 3. Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be pretty sweet?
What if like one of his supports is like opposable tail or something?
Opposable tail.
I mean, his alter ego, he's like wrapped around a tree hanging from it, so.
It's true. All right, my second question. I noticed looking at all the player cards for his kit are all pulled from a comic and not an artist, except for his alter ego and hero.
I noticed that too. Nightcrawler to me is such an iconic X-Men character that you got to do him right? I will say that the artist for his hero card did a pretty good job. I like the art on that one. There's been a couple heroes and some recent waves. I'm like, ugh. Some of the art just isn't my favorite, but this one, his hero card, is pretty good.
All right. Yeah. I'm either Nightcrawler just has a lot of good action shots that they were able to pull, or maybe they need to save some money and utilize those comics.
It could be that. It could be like a weird time of like the year. Maybe the artists were like on sabbatical or something.
Who knows? All right.
Maybe they were finding themselves abroad or something. I don't know.
Who knows? Either way, I'm excited for Nightcrawler. Looks like a pretty interesting play.
This wave has some of my most favorite X-Men characters, and even like Marvel superhero characters. So I'm really looking forward to Nightcrawler.
Well, let's look at some of these other cards he comes with that were revealed.
All right, let's go. I want to talk about this one. Change of Fortune. It's a 1-cost upgrade protection card. Play under any player's control, max of 1. After you defeat an enemy during the villain phase, exhaust this card and draw 2 cards. It's pretty cool.
Interesting. I like the idea behind it.
See, this one sounds really good, but you've got to have the right character.
Correct.
That can deal damage on the villain's phase. And to me, who I think of with this one is Ghost Spider.
Ooh, yes. Ghost Spider would be good with this one. I think any hero that has Retaliate has the potential to utilize this one.
Oh, that's true.
So I think
Retaliating people to death.
Black Panther start just tearing into all the enemies and then boop. And the good thing is
Black Panther with a Ultron, which all the Ultron drones are.
Gosh.
You only get to do it once because you have to exhaust it, but
it does say exhaust. That's right. For a moment, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it doesn't say."
That would have been insane. Yeah.
They always say exhaust.
It always says it.
But 2 cards, that's pretty awesome. I guess it's probably because it's assuming you're
having to play cards to
play a card, yeah.
Right. Which is nice though, because like how many times have you had a protection turn where it's like, okay, I'm going into the hero phase and I have 2 cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because that's what protection does. It's defense, but it does make it harder to play some of the other cards if you've spent it all. So, I don't want to talk about this one because I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it, but under control, you do some damage to a minion after attaching it to them. It could be good for maybe like Cyclops because it's a tactic upgrade. It's 0 cost, but I'm not.
I think they're playing off the if you BAMF, you're more than likely defending for 3, especially against a minion who's not attacking for usually more than 2.
Yeah.
You can pretty much get rid of minions with this.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll see a lot of play in that one, but.
All right. I will let you have player side scheme.
Okay, good, because I have something to say about
it. Go ahead.
All right. Here we go. The player side scheme protection, Astonishing X-Men. It's a 1 cost. It is a 5 threat, but not per player, just 5 threat response. After an X-Men character defends against an enemy attack and takes no damage, remove 1 threat from this scheme. And then when defeated, stun and confuse each enemy in play.
Bonkers.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
So let me just ask the elephant in the room. We're assuming you can still thwart this down, right? The response is only an additional thing.
Correct. It is anybody can play it, but if you're an X-Men, you have a little bit extra benefit.
You can whittle
to
it down off hero turn, hero phase.
Yes.
Cool.
I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, especially
stun and confuse for only 5 threat.
To me, it's very scenario. Because like you do the 4 horsemen, you get 4 stun and confuses out there. That's crazy. If you're doing a regular single villain game, it's a stun and confused. That's impactful for a solo 2-player game. But when you get to higher 3, 4-player counts, it's not as big.
But with the fact of the response of the X-Men, it makes it worth it because you could just not even thwart it and slowly do it.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. If you're not playing X-Men, do you include this card?
I think it would depend on the scenario.
Would you have liked to seen a play only if you have the X-Men trait locked player side scheme?
No, I do not like that. That is a heck no.
All right, I'm just throwing some questions out at you, Ryan.
Oh, well, throw them at me, but that is a no. I do not like trait locking these side schemes.
This one, to me, I think about Eunice. It would be awful if you finally get this done and then Gene Pool puts a 6 on there and it all goes away. What a waste.
That would be pretty funny.
Do you think the 1 cost justifies the when defeated, what you get for it? I think it should be. Do you think the cost should be higher, or do you think that the threshold should be higher? I'm just asking, either way. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's too high? It needs to be higher? What do you think?
I think for it to be useful, I think if you can do, I guess it depends on the number of players, like you said. Assuming you're doing it in solo or 2 players, if you can at least get the villain and a minion, I think it'd be pretty worth it still. Okay,
now just follow me on this one. So there's a weird movie called Being John Malkovich, and they climb into this weird cabinet thing and become him. So just imagine you did that, but you were Caleb Grace. Why on this card is it a set of 5 and not, X per player? Why do you think they went that route?
Man. I don't know. It could have been just to be different.
Okay. I will say that in this wave, we've seen a lot more static thresholds for threat.
I think for this one, it's because its power is not scaled by the number of players, but the number of enemies.
You're right, because we've seen a lot like deal X per player damage or thwart or this or Yes, that's true. Okay,
so that's why I would say it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have you double up. I'm going to have you talk about Rogue because I want to talk about Gambit. I want to talk about Gambit last because, well, I guess you can talk about Gambit and then I have a question about Gambit for you. Okay, so I'll go Rogue.
Well, hold
get
on.
that? You
hold
like
on.
that? I'll go Rogue. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I had another question involving the side scheme, but now I'm starting to forget it. So
okay.
Oh, I have it. Okay. Do you think they will have player side schemes come out that have, I guess, bonuses while it's out?
I don't. It seems like a lot of these are when defeated, do something.
Okay. Hear me out. So what if they changed it to have, like, while this side scheme's in play, each hero gains retaliate, we'll say. But then it says force response or force interrupt or whatever after a hero defends, remove a threat from here or something like that. So it's like a ticking time bomb. I see
what you're saying though, because the whole premise is if you have something good that comes out, you want to try and keep it out for as long as possible, like a benefit, right? So you have to bake in some way to get rid of it. So it's something you just can't just keep out there all the time.
Yeah,
I think your question has already been answered in the form of that specialized training one. It comes out and you defeat it, and then it gives you the long-term benefit as an upgrade.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So you don't get it while it's out, but you do benefit after you've resolved it or taken care of it.
I mean, it's kind of like some of the other ones, like the support or upgrade too.
Right. I get the concept. I just think it's too good for the heroes. Those darn villains have to have some advantage sometimes.
Well, maybe they can have a double, like one of those crazy events. Oh, that was one thing. Just a quick side note. I just have to mention it. If you play Nightcrawler against one of the Mojo encounter sets, the one that has the environment that everyone gains retaliate, is that?
Yeah, maybe.
Port and punch would probably not be that great.
Oh, is it an attack? See, that was my thing. I was going to state on that card. I didn't. To me, that seems like his area attack one, and shouldn't have attack. But maybe that would have made him too good.
I think it's because it's almost like a Black Widow, in that it's kind of like an area, but if you kind of like visualize what's happening, he's punching every single time.
No, I get it. Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah, so watch out for retaliate and port and punch.
And if we're assuming it's like the Black Widow, that each of the sentences are its own independent attack parentheses.
Nasty. All right.
Rough. All right.
Do you want me to handle Rogue?
No, I'll take Rogue. You do Gambit and ask my question. So 4 cost ally, 2 threat, 2 attack, 3 health, action. Deal 1 damage to another friendly character until the end of the round. Rogue gains each of that character's traits and adds that character's printed thwart and attack to her matching powers. Limit once per round. Potential to be good, right? I mean, if you're pairing up with somebody like Cable, potentially could have a 3-3-3. Oh, never mind. It's printed. Disregard that. But still, he's a 2-2-2, so 4-4. It's not bad. Super expensive.
I think that's the problem. I think the ability is pretty cool. I hate paying 4 costs for an ally. But I think...
Go ahead.
As I say, I think there's a lot of possibilities with her ability of, like, giving her, like, the aerial trait or, a different, like, a Guardians and throwing some Guardian stuff on her.
See, that would be the only way that I would think you would have to Voltron her kind of in some way to make her have more health or something to keep her out longer, to make it more, like, justifiable for the high cost.
Yeah. Because without that ability, she should be 3 cost.
Right. Okay. Yeah. She's rogue.
She's rogue.
All right. Mr. Gambit.
He is a 3 cost. He is an X thwart and an X attack. When consequential for both 3 health. X is the number of boost icons on the card under Gambit. In his response, after Gambit enters play, look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck and tuck 1 under him so that only the boost field is visible. That's pretty good. I mean, it's assuming you get at least 1, he's going to be 1/1. Which isn't great, but if you get a 2 or 3, that's pretty solid.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, it could whiff, could be a 0. Ooh.
Yeah. But, I mean, it is. I mean, with the 3 cards, the likelihood is you're going to get at least 1 boost icon.
Sure.
So.
All right. Yeah, potential to be good. It would be nice if you knew what those cards were or had some type of way to know what they were.
Okay.
Boost your ability. So my question. There's like I don't know if I've seen this concept in anything previously, but you tuck a card under him. I guess there's some stuff that you put cards underneath stuff, but I don't think they use the word tuck. Do you think that tuck mechanic could be applied to like a potential future hero? I don't know what you would use it for, but
does Spider-Man have one?
See, there's like you have like put the card. Usually it's something to the effect of put the card face down underneath this card. Side schemes, do it to like your signature with Zola. I want to say Kang, his memories one puts like 8 cards face down under. But I don't think they ever uses the vernacular of tuck.
Yeah, the one I was thinking was Spider-Man Noir. He says after you resolve a treachery, if you control another Web Warrior card, attach that treachery face down here. So it does not say your tuck word. I'm trying to think of any other hero or villain that does that. Underneath his bow thing.
No.
That doesn't say that.
No, his bow it's like a response to the villain attacking or an enemy attacking.
Not his bow, his quiver.
Oh. No, I think you just put it. I don't think it says attached. You're talking about Hawkman, right?
Hawkman, yes. His quiver says search for. Let's see. Exhaust, search, and face up to this card. Attach it face up to this card. I think attach is the word that most of the time we see, not tuck.
Oh, yeah, tuck. I don't know. I never played the other big LCG, so I don't know if that's a mechanic that's in other games that maybe they're starting to pull over, but I just thought it was interesting. Tuck. It was the first time I had seen Tuck or noticed Tuck to the card.
Well, maybe it's just specific because it kind of wants you to have like the boost icon visible. Maybe
that's what I was just about to say. Is this is the first time where it's either not fully face down, fully faced up, fully under a card. It's kind of like partially skewed.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it's meaning.
So, all right. Protection, Nightcrawler. Sadly, he doesn't come with other cards, but he does come with a 6-card modular set.
Quick question before we move on.
Okay.
This is my last cool question.
Okay.
Involving Nightcrawler.
Okay.
I see that we have both Rogue and Gambit allies. Is this an indicator that he might not have a signature ally?
I don't know. I don't know Nightcrawler comic lore enough to know, like, if he has, like, a little sidekick buddy. I don't know. Maybe they do something, like, completely weird, and it's, like, Mystique.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I have no idea. That would be interesting, right?
Maybe it's just some random monk.
He's right. It's just some, like, bald monk with that weird monk, stereotypical monk haircut.
There you go.
Brown burlap robe sack thing.
Yeah.
Father Muldoon. Yeah. So who knows?
Okay.
Could be a monk. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's tell me about this this crazy encounter set.
Crazy gang.
Oh.
So I assume you got number 1 is their side scheme, and then it looks like in the picture there's 5 of them and there's 6 cards. So I'm going to go with the assumption that there's side scheme and then 5 minions.
I'm going to bet with you.
So I don't want to go like super in deep detail, but it sounds like when these guys scheme, it forces the player to take that minion that schemed, flip it face down, turns it into a counter card, and then you pass it around the table in a multiplayer game. Which is kind of cool, because they all have when revealed effects. And I want to talk about the Executioners. His can be pretty rough. And we'll talk about the other interesting about their scheme. So, it says, Executioner, he has a 0 scheme, 2 attack, 4 health. When revealed, Executioner attacks the friendly character with the fewest remaining hit points. If this attack defeats an ally, remove that ally from the game.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
I like that.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. Like, when they scheme, they don't really scheme. They turn into encounter cards, and then you've got to deal with their when revealed effects.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're not going to be fun.
A merry-go-round of pain.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like there's the Executioner, some little lackey guy, the Queen of Hearts, if you want to talk about her, you're welcome to. And it looks like a little clown jester kind of guy, and I don't know their names. I guess we can look them up in another time. But
yeah, I don't know them. I think this encounter set might be fun. Kind of different, and a merry-go-round of minions and their crazy stuff going on. They've got decent health and decent stats, so it should be fun. My only complaint, though, is I do not like the artwork. I think it's a little too like cartoony for my taste.
Okay. My only thing is I guess you will have to deal with the when revealed once, right? But then you just don't let them scheme. I guess it lulls you in that false sense of security that it's a 0 scheme, so you can go down and not have to worry about the minion scheming. I don't know.
I would say you're right. Interesting.
Yeah. Nightcrawler. September. It should be a lot of fun. Let's see. Usually it's like 3rd or 4th Friday in September. Let's take a look here. 20th, 27th, probably around there. I didn't look at the site. There's probably a date on there, but I'm assuming it's like the 20th. So that'd be good.
Yeah, this one should be another fun. This wave has some a lot of strong heroes thus far,
and it has characters that I like, so that keeps me wanting to play the game.
Yeah. We just got Iceman. Been playing him.
Yeah, the review will be out in sometime late summer. I don't know at this pace. So we'll get to him. We still got to work our way through the rest of the Age of Apocalypse box. So.
Age of Apocalypse. Yeah, we got some stuff going on with that, but we're getting there. But I'm glad we were able to do this one. I'm excited for it, and I enjoy seeing protection cards come out because maybe in reality, maybe protection's my favorite, not justice. But
so secretly, I like protection. It's good stuff.
Yeah. It's so versatile. I feel like it's one of the more versatile aspects. You could play it defensive, but there are so many other things you can do with it. Aerial characters love it. I like readying with it. It's got so many ready stuff.
All right, I got one final question. It's probably going to open a little box of worms, but we got to wrap it up.
Here we go.
So, what do you think about this new extended timeline? Do you think they're going to keep this almost like a wave a year, kind of moving forward? It seems like they churned out a ton of content over the past few years, and they kind of taking it back a little bit.
I would say it's probably a wave a year, because that's generally going to be a box, which is 2 heroes and 5 villains, and then 4 to 5.
4 heroes and potentially a scenario pack, right?
Yeah, give or take. So there's no scenario pack this year, though.
I want to say, from what I remember, either a podcast or a live stream or something, it sounds like the scenario packs are almost like if they have time for a little side project. I may be totally wrong, but it's like we got the wave done and we're like ahead of schedule. Hey, maybe I'll throw in some random, project.
Additional goodies.
Yeah.
Well, their last one, Mojo, was a good side project.
That one was when the transition was occurring, so it's like, well, let's do this so we can kind of show you and, kind of work on one together. So, without having a full wave of product come out.
Well, it was a strong outing.
It was good. Yeah, those little three villains and little mini campaigns. It's fun.
Yeah,
good.
Well, cool, man. Well, I'm excited to get to play him first, and I'll tell you all about him. And
oh, really? Now I'll let you play him when we play the first game with Nightcrawler. I'll let you play him. Secretly, I'll probably play him by myself for a bunch of time.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be like, "Oh no, I haven't even opened it.
Haven't even cracked it open.
Why is it already sleeved, Scott?"
Oh, I'm missing a copy of BAM, by the way. Sorry.
Good times. All right, man.
All right. If you guys want to tell us your thoughts about Nightcrawler, reach out to us at marvelchampionspod@gmail.com. Ryan, I'm also trying this whole Discord thing. Still haven't figured it out. I guess it's for that younger generation. But I'm on there. Yeah, back in my day. I'll get that figured out and maybe chat with some people or something. I don't know what the kids do these days. So that's it. Nightcrawler, September. Can't wait. Thanks for listening, everybody. And as always, if you want to go from a chump to a champ, listen to the Marvel Champions podcast. Thanks.
And see you later.